Today's NFL Mailbag is presented by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/chat. Use that /chat. Get you 20% off plus free shipping. Let's start over. Manscaped, today's sponsor. Manscaped.com/chat. 20% off and free shipping. Tom, I promise I'm going to get things back on track.
I got faith in
NFL
you.
Mailbag. Use hashtag NFL or Super Chat. Minor Zach, will the Lions tag Kenny Golladay?
Well, first off, it's loins.
Loins tag Kenny Golladay and tag and trade him to Baltimore for a first rounder, a third rounder, and then draft 1 through 10 order of picks. That's very specific.
Not sure what he means by draft 1 through 10 order. We'll focus on the Kenny Golladay side of it. That is a option. I think if I'm the Ravens, I'm actually a little bit intrigued. Money's a bit of an issue. Going a cheaper round one receiver might make more sense from them. But also if I'm Detroit, even if I'm completely blowing it up and I'm drafting a quarterback in round 1, I need a receiver for him.
Yeah.
I think Kenny Golladay is a number 1 guy. The late 1 and 3 is intriguing. I think Detroit's better served paying Kenny Golladay, having a number 1 guy, and then, frankly, still drafting somebody else later so you have a supporting cast for whoever your quarterback ends up being.
Next up on our mailbag is Morgan Ensberg, hashtag NFL. Since Tua's been up and down, should the Dolphins consider drafting a quarterback in the top 5? Of course, they do have Houston's first-round pick.
Yeah, that's what makes this a unusual but also at least worth having a conversation of question. Miami might get the number 3 overall pick.
Yep.
So you might get to pick between Tua and it's kind of pick your flavor, either Zach Wilson or Justin Fields and probably Trey Lance as well. I think if you're Miami, again, part of the reason you made the move to Tua was to get him playing time because this scenario might occur.
Yep.
And Tua's TD-interception ratio looks great. My number 1 problem with the way the Dolphins have handled Tua has frankly been the offense. It is much more of a dialed-back attack, and there's some it's some confirmation bias, probably using the wrong term here, but Fitzpatrick comes in when the game's not in great shape, normally.
Yeah.
So he's going to naturally be more aggressive.
That's when he thrives.
And that's when he thrives. So I think for the Dolphins, don't go quarterback in the top 5. Provided you still believe in Trey Lance. I'm sure that they do. I want to see him in a more unleashed offense, use more empty personnel. I know the receiving core is banged up, and that's a problem.
I think that's been part of the problem and why they've reined it in is because Preston Wilson and some of those guys have been banged up. Devontae Parker's been out. Gesicki missed some games. So I think it's been more of a conservative approach. Let's run the football, play some defense with our elite defense in Miami, which, of course, that they have. But I do think there could be a possibility that if Miami, I don't know, what if Tua plays in Week 17 and is horrible and they miss the playoffs? Maybe that changes things, but I still think it's pretty unlikely.
Now, look, you're not going to get Trevor Lawrence. That would have been a very different conversation, by the way.
Like if Houston had the worst.
If they got number 1, we'd have to talk about that.
That's a Kyler, Josh Rosen.
Look, the next 2 guys, Fields, Wilson, Lance, it's kind of a pick your flavor. They all got strengths. They all got weaknesses. There is a risk involved with all of them.
Yes.
And Tua has not been a Josh Rosen, a Dwayne Haskins, a Paxton Lynch-style quarterback. He's been better than that.
Yep.
So for a guy who's stayed healthy, battled injuries, I don't think you punt on that yet for what is only another lottery pick.
I agree with you.
So I think from that perspective, you just roll with the guy you got. You stick with Tua.
So we'll ask you guys, should Miami draft a quarterback in round 1? Type Y for yes, type N for no. If you think they should, type Y if you're like me and Tom and say, hey, let's give Tua another year or 2. You drafted him number 5 for a reason. Type your N for no. By the way, Brian Flores, great job with how he's managed this. Both his quarterbacks have bought in for whatever reason. It's been absolutely
Maybe they
fantastic.
go full-time 2-quarterback system.
Hey, he's figured out the
with a new
QB
rookie
system. Y for yes or N for no. Today's mailbag, of course, is presented by Manscaped. Get the Lawnmower 3.0 and all of their great items at manscaped.com/chat. 20% off and free shipping at checkout. Tom, the Lawnmower 3.0, you're not going to have any tug on the hair down there. You might get some tug later, but not when you're actually performing what
innuendo.
I call the surgery, which is, of course, shaving down below. I couldn't find the right razor for me for years, so I basically gave up on it. And then my friends at Manscaped was like, hey, give us the Lawnmower 3.0. Give us the Lawnmower 3.0. Give it a try. I said, okay, I'll give it a try. No issues ever since. My wife loves it. It's a great deal. Manscaped.com/chat. 20% off and free shipping. And if you folks would like to help us out, we would greatly appreciate it. Do us a favor. Manscaped, one of our biggest sponsors at Chat Sports. They've helped us out in 2020 in what's been a tough year for a lot of you guys, I'm sure. Do us a favor. Really simple. If you have an Instagram or want to create one real quick and help us out, comment Chat Sports on their most recent post. You just go to their most recent post once you go to their Manscaped account, at Manscaped on Instagram, and just type Chat Sports and hit enter. That's all you got to do. Let's let them know that Chat Sports is the most dedicated YouTube channel out there, and we appreciate them over at Manscaped. I already showed you guys that I did it earlier. I commented Chat Sports. That's the post right there. It's showing some of their products right there. You click on that post, comment Chat Sports. Let's get hundreds in there if we can.
That'd be great, guys.
Let's get as many as we can. Let's show Manscaped that they are a badass sponsor and an awesome company because, like I said, the Lawnmower 3.0, Tom, it's the best item out there.
You're not going to find a better men's grooming tool, and they help us out here at Chat Sports, so if you guys can help us as well, that'd be absolutely fantastic.
More questions on our mailbag. A super chat from Troy Daniels. We appreciate it. With there not being a true home field advantage this year, do you see any surprise teams that may upset a top-seeded team in either conference? Real quick, shout out to the Bills, 6,700 fans at home playoff games this year. That came through the pipeline on Wednesday, so missed an opportunity for 6,900
For Bills
fans.
Mafia, too. What are you doing out
but
there?
But, hey, we're close. What do you think about this, though?
Look, in actually the past 2 years, across the NFL, including regular season, the value of the home field has actually dropped to about it being an even split. And that's down substantially from 10, 15 years ago. I think part of that is teams are getting smarter in terms of how to travel properly.
Yeah.
I think that matters there. But in terms of potential upsets, I'm looking over at the AFC, Harrison, because I see a very tight-knit wild card race.
3 through 7, really 8, because one of those teams is going to get left out.
I mean, I think the obvious answer is Pittsburgh gets upset.
Yeah, I think they definitely could. I know they bounced back nicely in the second half against Indianapolis, but they lost to Cincinnati the week before that. So I think that's a team to keep in mind there, Troy. Fidel Mendoza, appreciate the super. Will the Cardinals make the playoffs or keep the drought going?
Things are setting up better for them than the way they set up after last Saturday. Sure. When you lose against the Niners, and you're like, God, now we got to win against the Rams. They're playing
get some help.
The Rams are struggling though.
Yep.
They don't look like the same team right now. Jared Goff is out. He's not going to play in this one. John Wolford of Wake Forest fame
and AAF fame,
also yes, is going to be the starting quarterback. Frankly, the Cardinals should make the playoffs, and if they don't.
Only blame themselves.
I'm looking at you, Cliff Kingsbury. You had 2 very good opportunities. You had to win one of those games.
I will say this. I would much rather be Arizona this week than Chicago for 2 reasons. One, Chicago's playing the Packers. That's a tough-ass opponent. And 2, Arizona, they know it's simple. When you're in, lose, you're out. You don't have. If you're the Bears, you're worried about, well, maybe if the Rams,
get some help,
No, just focus on you. You win the game, you make the playoffs. That's a pretty nice situation to be in. All you got to do is focus on yourselves and go beat the Rams. You're in the playoffs. So let us know who will miss the playoffs in the NFC. LAR for the Rams, CHI for the Bears, or ARI for the Cardinals. Cole Allen next up. Who is the 7th best quarterback in the draft? Let me give my guess because I know you're the draft.
You go.
Top 4 are obvious. Yeah. It's Lawrence, Fields and/or Lawrence. That's 2 and 3, whichever order you want. Trey Lance. I think that's 4.
Wilson, you meant. You said Trevor twice.
Oh, I meant Wilson and
Fields, Lance. Yeah. You're right.
Wilson, Fields, whatever order.
Yep.
Those are your top 4.
Okay.
I'm going to say 5 is Kyle Trask for me. Mac Jones 6, Desmond Ridder 7?
I think you got it right.
Okay.
I think Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati is the 7th best quarterback this year. You can look at guys like a Jamie Newman from, I'm going to say Wake, since he never played at Georgia.
Jeez.
You can go Kellen Mond if you want to go Texas A&M.
I'm out on Mond.
Ridder brings those things that those other guys do. He's a good athlete, good arm, good size, but he's also just a better college player. I'm going to go Desmond Ridder there. I think he's more of a day 3 guy.
I think Ridder's a nice day 3 option because he's probably never going to be a starter, but I think he has a better chance of being a stable backup. Whereas Kellen Mond, maybe you hit the 5% chance that he becomes a starter.
He's boom or bust.
Or he's out of the league in 3 years. That's probably what's going to happen there. I'd rather take Desmond Ridder. And I would love for you guys to subscribe to the channel because we go live every Monday and Wednesday, and we have mailbags every Monday and Wednesday. If you want to be a part of these Q&As, subscribe, number 1, and 2, join us on our live shows. Monday and Wednesday, new time alert, 4 o'clock Eastern until further notice, sometimes 6 o'clock Eastern. Join us every
Just
Monday
subscribe.
and Wednesday.
You'll be notified a half hour in advance.
Exactly. There you go. Senior Pocket, #NFL. How detrimental would it be for teams drafting their scouts at limited or no access due to college football due to COVID?
They'll be okay because even though it's going to be tougher to get word from the coaches and the sideline stuff and all of that, they have all the film.
Yep.
And that's going to be the most important thing for those scouts. Now, you might see some ripple effects down the road with not as good relationships with some of those other members of the staff and whatnot, but I think it'll be fine. Where you might run into trouble is Combine Pro Day stuff. That could be where the biggest impact is felt.
Lou Diablo's next up on our NFL mailbag. Do you think the Patriots have a shot at Zach Wilson or Trey Lance at pick 14, or would they have to trade up to get one of them, or could they maybe get a trade up for Fields? I think Lance is the only guy that could be in play there.
I'm looking at the order here in terms of teams that might go quarterback above the Patriots, and I'll go quick here. Jags, Jets, Falcons. I'm throwing in the Eagles, probably not, but as a maybe. Lions, Giants if they lose out. Panthers, maybe Denver, probably not. That's way beyond 4 teams.
Yeah.
So maybe Lance there's a chance for, but if you're New England, I think if you want a quarterback, you got to trade up to go get one of them.
Timothy, if Mitch Trubisky playoff mode activated.
Oh, you.
Mitch Trubisky is so back, guys. No, we'll see. Look, the Bears have been in playoff mode for 3 weeks now. They knew as soon as they lost to Detroit to fall to 5-7, they had to win out. They've beaten 3 bad teams. Can they beat a good team? That's what we all want to know. Can the Bears beat a good team? Can Trubisky play well against a good opponent? I'm not convinced, but we'll find out this week. Freddie Couples next up on our mailbag. Who will the Jets get to replace Adam Gase?
Is anyone an upgrade? Just fill in coach. The Jets made a push for Matt Campbell back when they originally hired Adam Gase, and he's like, I'm good. I don't want this job. Maybe now he feels differently.
Oof.
Because I think if you have a better support staff, namely GM Jones, I think he's pretty smart. I think that would make some sense
Douglas.
there.
Yeah.
Look, I think if you're the Jets, you're probably not going to get Eric Bieniemy. I'd love to get Brian Dable if you start over at quarterback. Maybe that's the route that they end up going. I think they'll look for a different offensive mind. There aren't as many easy connections with Joe Douglas. Maybe you go defensive coordinator. Maybe Matt Eberflus makes some sense there. The Jets' job is, frankly, far less appetizing than what it was 2 weeks ago because they don't have Trevor Lawrence anymore, at least not going to have a chance to get him. That makes that job not as good. I'm very curious to see how that job ends up being filled.
If Adam Gase gets fired, we are going to have a Jets hot board. We'll go through some candidates on who could replace him, like we have with the Texans job opening, and, of course, the Lions as well. So subscribe. It's youtube.com/JazzSportsTV. Senior Pocket again. Where is Fitzmagic heading next year? Where would you like to see him?
Well, he could go be a better starting quarterback than the guy the team currently has. How about the Steelers?
Ooh, interesting. Hot take alert. Fitzmagic to Pittsburgh.
Kind of flippant, but
Super chat
Denver makes some sense too.
Super from Brian. Do you see the Eagles tanking out of spite? No. You're starting Jalen Hurts.
The teams and coaches and players don't tank. That's not how they're wired. They're never going to do it.
Especially with the rookie quarterback
Now,
trying to be the guy.
On one hand, Philadelphia, you can make an argument, is in better shape to lose as an organization to get a higher draft pick.
Okay.
Better draft pick, better play, or just trade down, whatever. At the same time, I think if you're Philadelphia, which team do you fear the most next year? If Philadelphia thinks they're going to be a contender, who are they most worried about in the NFC East next season?
I think it's still Dallas.
It's still Dallas. If you lose that game, Dallas gets a better strength of schedule. Like they don't play as tough of opponents. So if Philadelphia wants to hurt Dallas, the best path for next year is actually to win this game.
I'm going to simplify everything Tom just said. Jalen Hurts, you need to give him another legitimate game reps. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. You got to play this straight up if you're Philadelphia. Hurts ain't tanking. They're going to play to win that game.
They're going to try to win, and we'll see if they actually do or don't.